Okay, hello everyone. This is a weekly Subspace desktop meeting, and I will share my screen on giving you updates on the latest news. So, share screen. Here we go. I think you are able to see my screen. Yes? All
Yep.
right. I want to start with the closed issues. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. One of them is duplicate. Before that, this week, our app was getting stuck on when the server was unable to respond in a good manner. We fixed this. Now app doesn't get stuck anything related to server responses. The second one is now we made the hint screen, like you were getting an information model on what is plotting, what is subspace, etc. Now these are displayable as many times as we want. And we actually discovered a bug in the workflow that a user may not view the mnemonic and will not be able to display it again. We also fixed that. I will dive into these big changes in the PR reviews and demo. So now I'm just highlighting what's changed in the issues. Also, this was a duplicate, so let's skip that. Also, we are now showing a disclaimer on this is currently a testnet and the rewards you will be earning will be worthless in real life. And lastly, I closed this issue because it was no longer relevant and it's not on the current plan, but we may reopen it maybe in the future. So right now, for our short-term plan, we don't have a plan to connect mnemonic into the wallet directly.
Yeah. Özkan, just in general, I don't want to close issues if they're not actually resolved. In that case, we would just put it into the backlog or change it to like a feature request or something like that. But if we close the issue, then we don't like, how do we remember to fix it in the future? Like we have to, unless it's tracked somewhere else that I'm not aware of.
Of course, you are right. The thing with this one is like I usually do it on the backlog and low priority, but I was not sure if you are going to implement this or not. And that's why. Okay, I will.
Yeah, if you're not sure, then let's discuss it in these calls. But I wouldn't go closing any issues.
I will create another label for that then. Okay, thank you. Actually, let me, before forgetting it, let's just do that. Reopen, and then I will edit the labels. Okay, for the open ones, we actually have only a single new issue. Jeremiah, you suggested this one. So we don't have an installer at the moment, and when we do, it should ask for two options, like the user may prefer to keep their files, for the most importantly plot, or user may want to delete everything related to this app. So as I said, we don't have an uninstaller at the moment, but when we do, we want to make sure we support these both options. So this is the new issue. Any questions related to closed and open issues?
Yeah, that one's lower priority. We need to have a better spec on that before we start working on it. So I'm glad you documented that, but don't start doing any work on that until we have that much more clearly defined.
Yeah. Okay. So for the pull requests, we have this 5. One of them is from the bot, so we can skip that. It's just dependency upgrade. So this is what basically does two things. One of them is making the app not stuck when the server is not responding. And second one makes these requests in a more efficient way so that drops the connection when they are not needed. The second one is actually, this one is very important for the workflow of the app. previously we were displaying the mnemonic in the plotting screen, and it was not obvious for the user that it will show the mnemonic because the user was clicking next, and then it was displaying the intro model, and as the last step of this intro model, it was showing the mnemonic. And the problem is like this, like user can start the app for the first time, proceeds into the plotting screen, and then in the plotting screen, user does not click on the next and just waits, and somehow the app is closed. And then when user reopens the app starts from the dashboard. And then user is not able to review the mnemonic again. As a solution, we just moved the displaying of mnemonic before proceeding into the plotting process. So this is solving all the bugs, and it is actually the practice being followed for other crypto applications as well. So they are not starting their main functionality before showing and confirming the mnemonic is copied. So this PR is mostly about that. And we have a testnet claimer. It looks like that. Tokens credits generated on the Subspace network testnet. This is small t, by the way, we changed it. Small TSSCs do not equate to Subspace network mainnet tokens, have no monetary value, and cannot be exchanged for cash equivalent, or other tokens or cryptocurrencies. Thanks to Todd for, yeah.
Okay, that was my question. Great. Todd looked at that. Great.
Yeah. I asked Todd and he helped me with this. Yeah. All right. Since I stopped, any more questions about the previous things I mentioned? Should I keep continue? Okay. So yeah, very trivial PR, but important one. And lastly, there were some changes requiring some required changes for the backend. Our users don't need to worry about this change. This is just for some implementation details. But the important part is we have a unified workflow. Like there will always be a reward address supplied to backend. But again, this is implementation detail. Or for the end users, nothing is changed. They can just follow the happy path. They don't need to provide an external reward address if they don't want to. Everything will work, but will work smoother. So this is all for the merged PRs. And we have a big new one, which is draft at the moment. Actually, it is ready for being merged, but the problem is I'm waiting for the runtime upgrade on the monorepo side so that when we merge it, it will work for sure. Like not just under development environment, it should work in product environment as well, production environment. So this PR is introducing.
Sorry, Özkan. Yeah. Just to clarify that, you're waiting on which runtime upgrade in the development or in which environment?
Max plot size. So right now, if I try to run this code with our public testnet farmnet, the node will crash and it will say that it will generate the error max plot size variable is not found. So this has to be introduced to the runtime and then the node can work. What I do for testing this is I checked out to the revision for the latest main for the monorepo and using a custom chain, like a local chain.
Okay. So that is, so Ved has set up the process for the forkless runtime upgrade. Has that PR been merged into Subspace monorepo that has the max plot size?
I didn't follow actually, so I'm not sure. I don't know. I can check after this meeting.
Okay. Yeah, can you ping Nizar directly and learn that, please?
Yeah, of course.
And let him know that that's blocking the release of the app. I'm not sure if he's aware of that.
I think he is aware, but I will make it sure, of course.
Okay. So we have to deploy Max plot size, that's the only feature that we need.
I think so. I think so. Maybe there are some other changes required in the more deep dive things, but uh, at least notice complaining only about that plot size.
Yeah,
I have to ask Nazar for that.
I thought I submitted an issue earlier this morning, but it doesn't look like it showed up on your end yet, Oscar. One thing that may be helpful as well is just access to like maybe the node logs or some easy way to have users basically see what's going on the back end of their node, just to help with like troubleshooting, because it's kind of hard to, it's just as connecting to client, for example, and it's hard to see exactly what is the issue on the user end. So if there was an easy way for them to like, oh yeah, just send us this log file, that might help with troubleshooting. But I'll get the issue updated there for you. That was one thing I was thinking we could add.
Yeah, when you said it, like it makes perfect sense. We are actually having node and farmer outputs directed to the standard output. We can also redirect them to a file as logs so that we should be able to troubleshoot when users have problems. Because right now we don't have any troubleshooting for users. We just try to reproduce the issue on our side and then debug it.
Exactly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so once we have max plot size merged, and Nazar is responding to me as we speak. So that needs to be merged. That needs to be deployed to FarmNet via forkless runtime upgrade, and then we can deploy this as well.
Exactly.
Okay, and this includes all of the latest changes for multi-replica that have been implemented by Yvonne and merged.
True, it's completely up to date.
Okay, and you've tested it locally?
Yeah, I tested like last week. I tested and Farmer was producing blocks, and this week I tried to debug the dashboard and found out that the farmed blocks are not displayed in the dashboard. Like front end was not aware of these new farmed blocks, and just this morning we also resolved this bug with search, and Nazar also helped us. So now it's a fully functioning thing, and at least to me, there are no bugs related to multi-farming.
Okay, and which platform did you run that on, and how big was the plot?
Plot was once it was 1 gigabyte, and the second time it was 5 gigabyte, and I kept trying on 1 gigabyte. Platform is macOS M1.
Okay, so you set the plot size to be 5 gigabytes, but it actually wasn't a 5 gigabyte plot, right? It was just like a 300 megabyte plot or something like that.
Probably, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so it has been merged, the max plot size. Nazar said he's done preparation for the new release. There's CI job to produce the WASM build after the next snapshot. So I think we just need to, so it's probably just on Nazar and Ved at this point to do the snapshot and actually run through the forkless runtime upgrade on FarmNet.
Okay. Great. Then I will turn this into a real PR, and then we'll merge it after they make the changes to runtime.
Okay, and you were, I guess, just so I understand, why were you waiting on submitting it for review before that?
Because as I explained this morning, we just completed debugging, and yeah, that's why.
Okay, so it wasn't.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Now it's ready, but there are too many commits. I will just rebase and reorder them with make sense commits, and then turn it into a real PR.
Okay. Justin, have you done any testing of this yet?
Not yet, no. I can hop onto that and getting that tested out here pretty quickly, though.
Okay. Is there, Oskin, can we like spread this out amongst a few people on the team, or like Justin? Like, I know you got a lot going on right now, Justin, so I don't want this to like, be another thing that you're context switching between constantly, but I would like for this release, we can't just
Mm-hmm.
deploy it to the farmnet and just see what happens. We really do need to test it on every single operating system that we have with everybody on the team. We need to do like a gradual rollout, like core team ambassadors, then announce it to the community, not just go straight out like we've been doing before.
Okay. I will.
Yeah, I can help that. Me and Justin, we can work together on that.
Okay, awesome.
And I will make the people's life easier. I will run the publish workflow on this branch, and then we will have executables ready for people so they don't need to build this from scratch.
Sweet, thank you.
Okay, that's all the updates on my end. Like, we can discuss anything, or I can skip to demo. Which one do you prefer?
Any
Demo?
questions for us? Okay, let's go
thank
into
you.
the demo. Oh, sorry,
Okay.
did you have one, Justin?
I was just going to say you covered everything I was wondering about.
Got it.
All right. It's gonna take like maybe half minute to start the demo.
All right, you better tell us a good joke in the meantime, Özkan.
Yeah, I don't have an appropriate one. But the demo will reflect all the changes I covered, including multi-replica. That's the good news, and it is ready. So when I click Quick Start or when I click Advanced, this applies to both. This testnet disclaimer shows up, and I cannot click outside, like I cannot do anything other than I understand. So it is forcing the user to click here and read it. And then like we can select anything. And this, as we discussed, Jeremiah, I deleted the external like node space here, and it's in here. Like I reduced 20 gigabyte from available space. And then when we click Start Plotting, it asks for permission to create a directory. This is the mnemonic workflow change.
Özkan, sorry, can you just back up one more time and I just wanted to look at that screen.
Of course, of course.
Oh, you can't back out of that. You have to quit the application.
No problem, no problem. It won't take time for the second build, so it's there.
Okay.
So which screen did you want me to stop?
The plotting screen?
Setup plot, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so there's actually 188 or 198 available. You're just subtracting away.
Yeah, 207, yeah, is available probably.
Okay, so it's 20 gigabytes right now that you're allocating.
Exactly.
Okay. And are you aware of how to run the node in non-archival mode based on the latest changes Nazar has pushed?
No, not yet. We haven't synced with about that with Nazar.
Okay, so that's going to be a big next step. That's probably the biggest priority on the next step is syncing with him and getting those changes carried forward into here, so that we're not actually storing any of that data using the desktop farmer. That we're just going to be
all right.
Just going to be storing the plot and the state of the blockchain and the BST, of course.
Yes.
And there's still some overhead for that, right? But that is, there should be a small constant overhead for the balances state and the consensus state. 1 gigabyte should be like way more than enough, but that should be fair. But then there's the BST, which is, as you know, is proportional to the size
1%,
of the,
yeah.
Could, yeah, 1% is probably, we probably need to verify that, but yeah, it's probably 1% should be an upper limit there.
All right.
Okay, so at that point, then the available should be more dynamically adjusted based on that versus like a constant.
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, great. Keep going.
Okay, this is nothing new. And after confirming this, the mnemonic model will immediately pop up, as you see here. And again, like as before, you cannot click those without revealing the mnemonic. Then you have to click this, and then you will be able to click next. Search realize that this is like a remainder from the old design because I copy pasted. He will remove this, no worries. And when I click next, it will directly go to the plotting progress page. And at this point, if user wants to close this, no problem. Like close it and reopen it, like restart the application. Okay, sorry.
When you say close it, do you mean minimize it to the tray or quit the application?
Quit the application, like maybe computer shut down because of power outage, whatever reason. And it will, yeah, as you can see, it will start from the dashboard, and now it's able to see the new farmed blocks, and everything works, basically.
Hold on, I'm
But
confused.
this is my local testnet.
When you quit, you were plotting, but now you're already synced. So this is a whole different instance of the application that you're reopening here.
Can you re-ask that?
Okay,
No, it's
so
still thinking in the corner, Jeremiah. If you look, it says thinking 5 of 666.
But
This
you
is not
farmed,
accurate, by the way.
Oh, but it says farm blocks 7. Is that by me or by this user or by the network?
But by this users, because during plotting we are also start farming. Like farming and plotting starts immediately together.
Oh, this is on a local
Yeah,
instance.
this is on the local. Yes, that's why.
I got it. Okay. So this is not this is not anything like the behavior that most users will see.
Exactly.
Okay.
Like
so that's super confusing. Okay.
Sorry. So if they start from dashboard, they will see the progress of the plot, and most probably they will not farm blocks. Like they have to be super lucky for that.
Okay. So they're not done plotting, but it makes it kind of look like they're done plotting. They're just syncing now.
Actually, no, but in the production environment, this will be like status of the plot, and they will know the plot is not done and how much progress is there.
How will they know?
Like there will be a circle, like a pie chart, and it will show like this percentage of plotting is done in here instead of initializing.
Why do we need to recreate a plotting progress screen when we already have one? Why can't we just take them back to the original plot? Instead of showing them the screen, which is only supposed to be when I'm finished plotting, why can't we just put them back into the plotting progress screen?
We can do that. The problem is, okay, this is not a big problem, but let me say it. Whenever they reopen the app, the initial plotting will be reopened, because during the time they are offline, there will be new blocks, and they have to plot these new blocks. So every time they will start from initial plotting.
Right, but there's a difference between syncing after having shut down for a long time and never actually having completed a first plot, like a first run through.
Exactly.
So there should be like a config parameter that it saves where it knows that like I did make it past the plotting screen at least once, and then when I load, I can come to this screen and sync. You know what's changed, but then there should be another one where like, because like it's like a complete, like if I'm, let's say it takes 24 hours to plot, right? Then the first time I do it, if I close within the first 5 minutes, I'm going to come back and be at this screen, which really I should only be at after having spent 24 hours plotting. So it's like a very inconsistent user experience. And most people, when they're at the screen, they assume that they're like actually done with the plotting. That's kind of the, the message that we're trying to give them. So it's like we're starting to diverge here with the consistency of the user experience.
Okay, yeah, I like the suggestion. I was also bothered with it because of the other changes I was focused. I couldn't think of a solution, like adding additional parameter to config as you suggested, will work. I will do that. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and we should probably also make it so that, like, let's say the user is offline for like 6 months and the network like 10x's in size, and it's going to still take them another 24 hours to plot. Then we should probably want them, like, we need to sort of mentally prepare the user, like, there's my fan is going to be running for the next 24 hours while I'm plotting, right? And that's like the screen that we, the previous screen is sort of like, expect that you're like running a GPU miner, for the next 12 hours. And this screen is like, expect that your computer is not doing anything hard right now. That's sort of the impression that we're trying to set here, the sort of like heavyweight versus lightweight, and managing that experience. Because we don't want like a user to sit in this screen and their fan just continuously run. They're like, oh, I'm running a miner, right? And that's the idea, is that when we're here, like, it's super low overhead, right? So that's why I'm trying to separate these two screens out, so that we have like some notion of when I expect this to happen, and that's a temporary thing versus the normal mode of operation, which should be very lightweight.
I see what you mean, but now I'm confused because if the first suggestion of yours was like, once you complete the plotting screen, you can continue from the dashboard, but if the user was like offline for, let's say, 6 months, then it should start from the initial plotting screen again. And where do we draw the line?
We just need to come up with some reasonable default. Like, if you need to replot more than X percentage of your plot, then, whatever that is, like, I don't know, 50%, or if it's going to take more than like X hours, then it should take you back to the plotting screen. I don't think that's as big of a deal right now. I'm just thinking, this could be an issue in the future.
Okay.
I would just ignore that I just said that, and just focus on what I originally said about just having a flag and 2 screens, and we'll handle that case in the future.
Okay. Another discussion point, like the previous plotting screen may be boring for some of the users. Like, do we want to merge these 2 screens? It's actually contrary to what you said, but maybe the plot progress could be displayed in here as a progress bar, as a small progress bar.
No, we don't want to redesign the user interface right now. Okay. That's not the goal.
Okay.
Serge, what were you going to say?
Why don't we show just plotting by default? And if it takes like short time, then the user will just click and go to this page, to the dashboard. So if it's initial plotting, he will stay on the plotting page for a while. If he is skipped for like few months, he will go to the plotting page and he will stay there for a while. And if he just like reopens after recent close, then he will just click next and he is on the dashboard. So we just show in like plotting page by default.
This could work.
I think that makes sense.
Because otherwise we need to like have this another like property to check if this is initial plotting or not, and then we need to calculate what was the amount of like plotting that we need to do again. So if we want to keep it simple, we can just go to the plotting every time.
Then I will remove the name initial. It will be plotting page.
Yeah, just plotting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think, and to your point, Özkan, about this plot status here on this screen, that wasn't really meant to say like, that we're doing like whatever incremental update we're doing to the plotting or the plotting progress itself. It's more just like reopening the plot, or if we're having to like do a recommitment or something like that. That's what that should show. But if we're at this screen, we're assuming that the plotting is done.
Okay, I see. Okay, that's all I got for this week.
Okay, great. That's wonderful progress. The focus now is just going to be testing this cross-platform and with large plot sizes as well.
One more question. Sorry, can I interrupt?
Yeah, of course.
Some users also wanted to their node IDs to be displayed in this screen.
Yep.
So that they can find their nodes on telemetry and check whether everything is fine or not. But
Right.
like the only white space left is here, and I can't think of any other design. What do you say, guys?
Yeah, that's actually a feature request. I thought there was an issue for that. I know Wei had mentioned that several times, the ability for the user to set their node ID in the desktop app as part of the initialization, and then to see their node ID as well in here. I think it's totally fine to put it up by the settings icon, like just whatever that name is. It's almost like a username, and that's kind of where a username typically goes when you're in like a website. So I think that's simple and a very easy way to do it. And the other thing we need to add is the ability to set that node ID on initialization.
Yeah, we can do that. No problem.
Okay. Anything else, Oskin?
No.
Okay. Any questions for Oskin or comments, feedback? No. Okay.
Looks very good.
Awesome. All right. Great work, Oskin. Node name and node ID. What's the difference between node name and node ID?
Node name is just easier to understand for people. So node name is just a name of your node, and node ID it's not really that clear actually. That for many people, I guess.
What
Which
is
one
it
is
called
being
in
shown?
telemetry?
Yeah.
Sorry.
We've referred
Sorry?
to it as node ID so far.
But like in the telemetry website, what is the actual name of the column for that? Is it?
Checking. I believe it says ID.
Yeah, I believe it should be consistent with telemetry as well, because they are going to check this name against telemetry.
Just
Telemetry
node.
just says node. Yeah. It doesn't even say node name or node ID.
Okay, we'll just go with node name then, because node ID technically is something different. That's the hash of the public key of the reward address or the signing key. So yeah, we'll call it node name. That's fine.
Okay.
We can probably change that in telemetry as well to since we have our own version of that now. We can put node name in the UI there in the future. Okay. Any other questions, comments? Okay, Oskin, so we've gone through the issues, we've gone through the PRs, we've gone through the demo. I think all that's left is to go to the board and talk
Yes.
about next steps.
Yeah. I will also show the Kanban, but let's first start with the priority screen. So these two, we discussed these with Serge, and we will find a way to distribute this workload from Leo to Serge, between Serge and me.
Sorry, let's start. Selecting existing app with node and farmer. What does that mean? What's the problem there?
Existing folder, actually. So yeah, the problem is like.
Can you change the name of that ticket then?
Yeah, of course.
So it's more clear, please.
Yeah. Actually, those two are very similar. Like when you have an older version of the application, you uninstall it and you install a new one, like the new version. Your plots are not recognized by the new version. So that's the problem. The easiest way getting out of this issue is storing a configuration file externally. We were doing that, but we changed it to storing the configuration information locally to the app. And that's why when we uninstall the app and install the new version, this configuration info is gone, lost. And that's why the application does not recognize the already existing plot folder. Like I said, we can go back to the external configuration file, and then that will solve.
Wasn't that Nazar's idea to go to the internal configuration file, or that was by his request?
Yes, it was Nazar's request.
Okay, so we need to have that discussion with Nazar before we implement that, to make sure that he understands and that he agrees to that, or else it's just going to get kicked back in PR after you guys spend a few days writing code on it.
Yes.
Okay, so can you, whenever you have your solution to that, Özkan, to that issue, write your proposal to that solution and then tag Nazar in GitHub, like @Nazar. Does this work for you?
Okay, we already have that discussion actually under issues. Okay. It's not just finalized. So and we both forgot, probably Nazar and I. So I will just re-awake the issue, the discussion, and tag Nazar so we can keep the discussion. But the discussion is there.
Okay, great. Yeah, and if those are the same issue, let's merge them with a more descriptive name about the folder.
Yeah, and this one is on the way. And this one is submitted by Nazar. Like when the node was too slow on syncing, especially on Windows, like only in Windows actually, the farmer was creating an error and it was exiting. It was stopping working. And this was not handled gracefully. So this is another issue. Other than that, all the other ones are medium or low. This one, I believe, should be high priority from now on, because we have all the other high priority things on the front end fixed. So this is the new high priority, in my opinion. And like, if you want, I can switch to the Kanban view.
Yeah, let's do that, all. Please.
Okay. So this is in progress. This was blocked because farmer code changed significantly after multi-replica. So after this PR merge, I will work on that. And yeah, we have some items on to do. These are not ordered, by the way, so we don't necessarily start on the first item in here.
Required specs is the hardware configuration?
Yes, exactly. Me and Justin are going to handle this.
Okay. That's like a 15-minute task, right?
Probably.
Okay, let's just go ahead and get that done. If you can just move that to in progress.
Sure.
It was low-hanging fruit, so let's just knock it out. Okay. Connect mnemonic into the wallet. Okay, so that's going to be a backlog. So let's create another column here called the backlog. Yeah. Great. Okay.
Can I drag and drop this? Yeah, great.
Okay. And settings for customize the Bootstrap node, etc. That's in the backlog for sure.
By the way, do you want me to make the screen bigger? Are you comfortable reading this?
I can read it. It's fine.
Okay.
Maximize the app from the tray when launcher is double clicked. Is that just on Windows that it's, or sorry, just on Mac that it's not doing that?
Probably, yeah.
Okay. Tray updaters feature to handle version updates, farm list, farm blocks, storage validations. What is that number 64? What is that about?
I actually don't know. Check for duplicated farm blocks, update farmer rewards from balance queries. Oh, okay. So I know this one. So we are populating the farmed blocks in two ways. One of them is listening to the node and listening to new coming blocks. The second one, we are actually storing these blocks in the config file. And then when you close the app and reopen that, it's also showing the previous farmed blocks. But if you farm these blocks before, for example, you use the same identity from CLI and you farm these blocks on CLI, then switch to desktop app. I don't know if that's possible. It won't show the blocks you farmed from CLI. So maybe Leo referred to this.
Yeah, it's a very weird way that we're doing this right now. It's kind of a hacky solution. So I think it's just trying to have a better system for, because we're basically running an indexer on the farmer of the blockchain, and there should be a better way to handle this. So this requires some thought on this. If you can add a comment in here, Serge, I'd like you just to take a look at this code and see if there's a better solution, so that like ideally when you start the farmer, you can just like query an RPC node and get like the account state of that farmer, and then somehow like query the RPC node to fetch that data, or like some archival node, versus having to like store all this state, like cache it and index it locally. It's a lot of complexity, which I don't think we need. Does that make sense?
Yeah, maybe you can assign on me like the whole issue.
Yeah, let's do that. And then Serge, before actually implementing any of that, again, please just write a short description of how you'd like to handle that architecturally, and then
Sure.
and then we can have a review. Yeah, tag Nazar, and we can have a review on that. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so let's move that to in progress.
This is purely front-end optimization where there are too many blocks. UI gets sloppy.
Right. Okay. I think that's not critical right now because we're probably not going to have that many blocks from most farmers. Farmer reset from menu.
Okay, so when we reset the app from the menu, like there's a reset button, it actually kills the farmer and plotting, like it restarts everything. But farmer is actually stoppable. It's a async process that we can stop. We are not doing that. Leo was referring to that by this issue. So instead of hard reset, we can just stop the farmer manually from the backend Tauri and restart the farmer again from Tauri. We are not doing that. We are restarting everything considering the application.
Sorry, what is the use case we're trying to support here?
I have to check our chat with Leo because he said something related to Windows when he's testing or developing things. This will be really useful for him. But for the end users, I don't think there is any benefit of implementing that.
So what reset, does that mean like to close the app, like to quit the app and restart the app?
Yes. No, there's a button called reset. Let me show you. Okay, we are lucky it finished quickly. So here, there is a reset button.
Okay, I guess I forgot we had that. And what does that do?
It actually deletes everything, like plot folder, identity, like it's a start from scratch button.
Like a soft reinstall, basically.
Yeah.
So it's like an uninstall of the data of the plot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So really, okay, so that's actually what we should have. Is that part of our upgrade process? Do we ask people to reset their plot if there's like a hard fork and
No,
then
we
delete, uninstall the app? So that's almost something, yeah, that feels like something that shouldn't be exposed to the user. It should be like part of just like the uninstall process.
Probably because it's a very dangerous button. Like With
Yeah.
2 clicks, they will erase all of their plot and they will be very
Yeah.
unhappy.
Yeah, it seems like it's like the nuclear option there. Okay, so there's a bigger problem around that reset button. That's really just a feature you guys that simplifies testing, right? For y'all. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. I use it when testing.
Okay.
I can make this button show only in development option.
Would Justin be able to use it for testing then?
Yeah, I'm mostly testing in production, so
Yeah.
it's fine. Whatever is best for the user is fine. I'll figure it out. I can always just manually delete the file.
Yeah, I think we should just hide that for now.
Okay.
And so if you can create a ticket OSCAN just to hide the reset button, don't delete the functionality, just hide it from the UI, and that when you there's a task of like redesigning that workflow.
Then should I edit this current issue?
Yeah.
Okay.
That should be pretty straightforward.
Yeah. So I'm gonna move this to in progress. This is not important for end users. It's just for the CI.
Okay. Okay, let's this is going to be a long process, so let's leave this for now. There's a lot to go through here. We need to have a whole separate backlog discussion on this. I guess my immediate concern is there was a large PR that Leo had been working on, and I believe it resolves some of these issues.
Yes, 2 or 3 of them. Yes.
Yeah. Serge, have you had a chance to look into that at all yet?
Unfortunately, it was in his local branch. It's not on the repo.
Yes.
So I will have to do it from scratch.
Awesome. Okay. So there's nothing on GitHub that has not been merged that he's committed.
Yeah, and that's like nothing unusual for Leo. Like Leo always worked on local, and then when he fixed and finalized things, he then pushed it to GitHub.
Okay. Okay. So Serge, why don't you just focus on familiarizing yourself with the code base and some of these open issues and discussing with OSCAN what sort of the critical issues are one-on-one. And then whenever you are ready, whenever you finish the relayer, gotten the relayer to a stopping point, and you're ready to dive into this more deeply, just reach out to me and we can have a sync to go through this and talk about next steps here. I think we need to have like a backlog discussion with me, you, and OSCAN.
Sure. We actually did this earlier today. Like.
Oh, okay, great.
So I'm already more or less familiar with the situation. So let's just schedule like grooming session for this.
Okay. What do you see as your priorities right now?
What do I see as a priority? Can you please open?
Yeah, based on that. Sorry, based on the discussion that you and OSCAN had, just from the front end, like when you're ready to commit time to this, what do you see as the immediate priorities?
I'm gonna reshare.
I don't know. I thought we are going to discuss it today. Like
okay. Well, I was just trying, and I'm not looking for the final answer. I was just based on what you guys talked about. Like, did you have an idea of what you thought were sort of the hot?
So we only covered these two, yeah, like the highest priority issues. So which are basically the same issue.
Okay.
So whether we should use external configuration or something else. So I can reach out to Nazar to have this discussion.
Okay, perfect. Okay, Özkan, and you're tracking on what your priorities are as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I think I'm good unless there's any other questions from the group or comments.
I was just gonna say, Oscar, let me know once those new builds are done building, and I can start testing them out with Diana.
Yeah, of course. It's in the progress. I will check it. You can also check it if you want from GitHub. It's under
Under the workflow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sweet.
I wanted to ask, what is the current state for the next version of Subspace Desktop? Is there like a design, or still work in progress?
For V2, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, that's been put on hold for a while. Just Diana's bandwidth and our engineering capability to build 2 apps in parallel. The goal has just been to get V1 to the point that it works, even if it's not the best user experience. Trying to sort out a lot of these bugs, which will probably transfer over to whatever iteration of the user interface we have is.
Understand.
And the good part is, like, if we are to switch to version 2 at some point, the backend will probably change very, very, very little. So all of the debugging we are doing is not going main.
Did you have anything you wanted to add to that, Diana?
Yeah, I hope so. We're already even trying to find solution for Figma, maybe, export code from Figma, so it should be really easy to adapt the new version. So yeah, but it's been on hold for months now. Yeah. I have one comment. I just remember that we discussed maybe a couple weeks ago, change the text on the first 2 buttons. Right now we have like easy start or advanced, and we discussed that maybe we could change that.
Yeah, thank you, Diana. I forgot to ask that. Like, what do we want in there for wording?
Yeah, we'll discuss it. But I think I'm farmed for the first time, and I've farmed before, something like that. But we can discuss it and maybe choose a better wording for this.
Because I farmed before may not be suitable, because maybe some people have their wallets in Polkadot.js application and they want to import that reward address, but they are farming for the first time.
Yeah, the exact word we can sort out, but I think we do need to create an issue just to change the wording on the first 2, and then we can have the discussion asynchronously. Thanks for bringing that up, Diana. Okay, anything else? All right, well, thank you everybody for watching, and we will see you guys again next week.